Hi again, everybody. I'm Rob Rosenthal with AskTheLawyers.com, and this is another episode of Ask the Lawyer. Today, we're going to ask the lawyer about the often confusing world of insurance. Why are claims denied? What can you do? And what is ERISA anyway? So here to answer our questions is attorney Stephen Nagle. He's an insurance attorney in Austin, Texas, the firm Stephen G. Nagle Associates. Steve, thank you for taking some time with us today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, Rob.
So let's start with ERISA. What is ERISA? I'm assuming it's an acronym. Tell us more about it.
ERISA is an acronym, as you said. It stands for Employee Retirement Income Security Act, and it is a congressional act, a federal law that was created back about 25, 35 years ago to allow big companies, national companies, to create their own insurance programs. We used to have what we called cafeteria plans, where your employer would offer you health insurance, life insurance, dental insurance, vision insurance, and things like that. And ERISA was basically created to provide a field on which insurance companies and businesses could create those sorts of plans for their employees.
And how does this protect? Is it designed to protect the consumer, and how so?
Well, it actually was set up more to help the employers. Employers, particularly large national employers, had employees in many different states, and they had different rules in different states. Congress set up ERISA in order to create a single set of rules for all companies across the United States. And so it created a very, very basic set of rules. And it is so basic that it has been taken advantage of by the insurers and by the employers. ERISA is an opt-in program. That is, nobody has to participate, but anybody who is an employer with, I think it's 20 or so employees or more, can participate, and they do. Almost all companies, businesses in the United States who provide health insurance to their employees do it under ERISA. The only exceptions are government entities, which are in a separate situation, whether it's federal or state or county or city, anything like that, and churches. They have their separate regulatory schemes. And it is also true that if you purchase insurance on the open market through the Affordable Care Act, for example, rather than through your employer, those are not covered by ERISA, but everybody else is.
So we start talking about insurance and claims, and everything's fine until a claim gets denied. What are some of the more common reasons you've seen that insurance companies will deny claims?
Most often, insurance companies deny claims because they say they don't have enough information in the file to support the claim. That can be a problem as a result of communication from a doctor, or as a result of communication from the insured, or sometimes as a result of a failure of communications from the employer if it's an ERISA case. There are all kinds of things. There are a number of kinds of insurance offered through ERISA plans. I mentioned several of them. Life insurance, health insurance, dental, and vision are probably the most common, with disability bringing up the rear on that. The bases for denying the claims, as I say, almost always there's not enough information in the file. And it varies quite widely as to what kind of information is needed.
So once you get denied and they tell you do they usually tell you the reason for the denial?
They are supposed to. One of the things ERISA does do is it creates a kind of a level playing field. There are several things that ERISA requires. First, it requires that they notify you exactly the reason why they are denying your claim. Second, they are required to provide an appeals process within the insurance company. That is a kind of a grievance process. And they need to give you a minimum amount of time within which to file or write your grievance or appeal. The minimum time for writing an appeal in ERISA cases is usually 60 days. It can be as much as 180 days, but those are relatively short periods of time.
So let's talk about that appeals process. Is that something that your average employee who's had their insurance denied can handle themselves, or is that a really good time to get someone like yourself who is more of an expert with dealing with the insurance companies?
It really depends on the situation. It is a good time to get a lawyer involved, although many people can resolve those claims on their own. The biggest problem comes up in situations where people don't understand the nature of what the insurance company is missing, or in cases where there is not a lot of objective proof available. To give you an example, commonly you can have a disability claim based on, for example, leukemia. If you have leukemia, you're going to be unable to work for a significant period of time because you're on chemo or radiation therapy or a number of different therapies. On the other hand, you can also have a disability as a result of something like fibromyalgia or other diseases that are not common or not easily diagnosed. In those cases where there is not a lot of objective, verifiable medical evidence that shows that a person has the particular disease, like fibromyalgia, the insurance companies often deny those claims based on the lack of objective evidence in the file. With anything like that, where there is any kind of argument about whether there is sufficient objective medical evidence, you need a lawyer right away.
Now, if I go through the appeals process, say my claim is denied, I submit what I think is enough information for the appeal, and it's denied again, is that the end of the road? What's the next step?
That is not the end of the road, but it is, as a practical matter, for many people, the end of the road. And that is because under ERISA, when you finish that appeal process, you have created what the law calls an administrative record. And if you want to file suit over whether the insurance company did or did not make the right decision, the only proof that you can use is what is created in the administrative record. That is why it is really important whenever there's an argument about objective evidence or anything like that, you need to get a lawyer involved in the appeals process. Once that appeal is over, although you have the right to file a lawsuit, you're really stuck unless the evidence is in the appeal record, the administrative appeal record that is in the insurance company's claim file.
Because you can't introduce any new evidence after that point.
That's right. You can file a lawsuit, almost always in federal court, but you cannot, in most cases, introduce new evidence. That kills a lot of claims.
Do you have any examples, one or two cases like this that you've handled and how they've turned out?
Well, I can tell you a couple of things. I've handled quite a few different cases under ERISA. I've handled life insurance cases, accidental death and disability cases, medical insurance cases, and other things as well. For example, just a recent example, a young lady was hurt at home, and she had a torn knee. And when they got in the knee, they found a pre-existing problem with her knee that required a major surgery that cost $200,000. The insurance company denied the claim. The insurance policy said that they would cover these things, but the insurance company did not read the medical information correctly, and the doctors did not provide all the medical information necessary to prove that the claim happened in a way that it was covered by the policy, and that these pre-existing conditions were actually necessary, that is, it was necessary to fix them in order to fix the problem that had caused the knee injury in the first place. Right. It took just a couple of calls to the doctors and a written report from the doctor, and then a short statement from the young lady, and we got that claim resolved.
So it really pays to have somebody on your side who is very familiar and experienced.
And it's important to do that in the appeals process.
Right.
And let me talk about one other thing. The most common thing I see, there are two big problems for people with ERISA. One is they miss the appeal deadline. Sometimes it's not clearly noted, particularly in medical insurance cases, you'll get an explanation of benefits, right, what people call an EOB. And that EOB will have on it in small print on the back, you can appeal this decision and you have 60 days to do so, or 180 days, or 90 days. And people don't see that notice because it's on a document that they don't look at most of the time, and they miss their appeal deadline, and that is lost. If you miss that appeal deadline, your claim is over.
Oh, wow.
The second thing is that people try to handle their own claim, and they go through the appeals process on their own, submit what they think is sufficient evidence to prove that their claim is covered, and the insurance company denies it again, and then they call me. But at that point, I have to plead with the insurance company to try to reopen the record, and they're not interested really in doing that. They have got what they think is a good administrative record for denying the claim. they're ready to just move on.
Right.
And I have to tell those people a lot of the time, I'm sorry, but you needed to have a lawyer involved in that appeals process. I can no longer help you.
Wow.
And that's in the cases where the dispute is over what is the objective evidence that is required. Unfortunately, many people think what is obvious to them about their injury is unfortunately simply not obvious in the medical records, and that's what the administrative record is made up of.
Great. That's some great information, Stephen. I think you've helped a lot of people. Thank you for taking time with us today.
You're welcome, Rob. Thank you for talking to me.
That's going to do it for this episode of Ask the Lawyer. My guest has been attorney Steve Nagle of the Austin-based firm Stephen G. Nagle and Associates. Please take a second and click on the button at the bottom of the screen. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you'll know about future episodes of Ask the Lawyer. And remember, if you want the best information about insurance claims or you're ready to choose a lawyer that lawyers choose, please visit AskTheLawyers.com. I'm Rob Rosenthal with AskTheLawyers.com.